Today we're talking about ADUs, accessory dwelling units. Ever since we were featured in the Long Beach Business Journal a month ago, my phone's been ringing, people have questions, and that is the reason why we are making this video for you. What you need to know, what you could build, does your property qualify, and more importantly, what's it cost? Will it raise the value of my property? Here's everything you need to know about accessory dwelling units, also known as ADUs. Welcome to Multifamily Long Beach, a show dedicated to wealth creation, financial independence through real estate investing. I'm Juan Huizar, president of Sage Real Estate, market leader in 4-unit sales, and your rent control expert. If you live in Southern California, you are well aware that we have a housing crisis. In fact, the housing crisis has gotten so bad that the state of California has taken control and has passed certain laws encouraging homeowners, property owners, to build an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit. This is one attempt to help ease the crisis that we are in. You might be wondering, what is an ADU? I'm sure you've been hearing about it because it is a hot topic. ADU stands for accessory dwelling unit. And what this is a second home behind your home. In fact, now laws have changed so that you could build ADUs behind apartment units, behind a 4-unit building, so long as you meet the requirements. They are now allowing you to convert garages in certain areas so long as you meet certain requirements. The state is doing everything they can to encourage us homeowners to build these types of housings. ADUs are now allowed by the state of California to be built anywhere in California. And so long as you own a property and you have a single family home or even an apartment building and you meet the requirements, there is going to be setback requirements, meaning you can't put it up against the property line, but check with your local municipality on what those requirements might be. So there are 3 primary types of ADUs. One would be the traditional site built. You're going to hire a contractor, they're going to come out and build on your property. 2 is a manufactured. These are going to be built off-site and brought onto your property, similar to what I'm standing in front of, which is called a manufactured home. And then 3 is going to be a garage conversion, where the city would consider allowing you to convert your garage, with permits of course, to make it into a home or a dwelling. The benefits of the ADU: we're providing housing to a family. We're providing a roof over someone who needs it. We all know that vacancy rates are super low, and we simply don't have enough housing. And the crisis has gotten so bad that the main goal with doing ADUs is to provide housing. Another benefit for the actual homeowner who decides to provide housing to someone is that there's going to be rental value. A lot of the folks that I've been speaking with are close to retiring, thinking about retiring, or just did not plan for retirement, which is a win-win situation. You're going to provide housing and you're going to actually get rental income from that property. It's a win-win for everybody. But also, maybe you have an elderly parent who you want to keep close at home, or maybe you want that parent to help raise kids, or possibly the college housing has gotten so high that you want to keep your child at home. They don't exactly want to live in the front house with mom and dad, and they'd rather live in the back. And so there's a lot of benefits that the ADU is going to provide. Is a manufactured home permitted as an ADU? The answer is yes. In fact, I'm standing in front of the first one in Long Beach. So this means this property was built off-site. This specific property was built in Arizona, inside of a warehouse. It was built to standard codes and it was delivered on site. So yes, they are permitted. You might be wondering, can I sell or rent my ADU? You could definitely rent out the ADU, and that's one of the benefits to the homeowner if they decide to build one in the back. Can you sell it? You could sell it with the home up front, but you can't separate that property out. So to learn more about ADUs and the different types of ways that you could go about building them, I brought in 2 experts to interview today. MarkMalan started his career as a real estate appraiser. He became an MAI. He's a real estate broker and became a CCIM. He's a college professor and is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to real estate. And the reason I brought him in to speak to you today is because he's the leader in manufactured ADUs. Mark, tell us, why did you decide to do a manufactured built home versus site built?
Sure. The very first thing is I have a controlled cost. I know what I'm going to be spending as I'm going into the project because I'm electing to buy the one at the cost I have. So I'm not very worried about overruns. The second thing is that I'm sure on my delivery time. I'm not waiting for several months or a year. I'm not worried about rainy days and work not getting done. It just keeps happening because it rolls out from the factory and the crane lifts it over the property. Probably the biggest thing that I care about is timing. Timing is that I know that I can order this up and drop it in about 30 days. And so I'm not going to be making this income property in 6 months or a year from now, but I think that I could have a tenant in 30 to 45 days from when I start.
Mark, and so I'm glad you said that. So one of the reasons why we're here is because we want to show folks that they have options. It's not always your traditional construction build, but the manufactured home, which is a real home, by the way. This is not a mobile home. It's permanently set on the structure, so it's considered real estate. And so walk us through the timeline from start to finish on getting one SAT approved and final with the City of Long Beach.
The very first thing that we do is pull the permits on the property. You can hire an architect, I have one on staff, and you have to make the plot plan and decide where your setbacks are, your easements are, your access to the property, etc. Then you submit that to the city, and then the city will take their time in getting back at you. I always pay for the expedited fee because it's supposed to be faster. Isn't always, but it's a theory thing.
Right.
Then after the city gives me my permits, I order the house up. Within 30 days, I've done the foundation, I've done my electrical, sewer, plumbing, etc. And by the time that the house gets delivered, I'm ready to set it. And so in theory, in a 60-day period should be enough to get your permits, order your house, get it delivered, and get your tenants moved in. So it's a lot quicker process than it would be to do a site build.
Wow, so in 2 months, you could get it all done, permitting, SAT, and set up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's very impressive. One of the questions that I get, Mark, is a manufactured home built to the same standard as a regularly built home?
The very first thing I can tell you is that the home comes here on a flatbed, travels 55 miles an hour down the freeway. I've got a house that's a very expensive house, and if I put it on a freeway at 55 miles an hour, stuff will be flying all over the place. So this is a higher quality construction that way. Also much simpler install. When you order it with your cabinets, with the finish that you want, with the counters that you want. In the one that we have behind us, we've got an upgraded cabinetry, Corian countertops, all pre-plumbed for the ice maker, dishwasher, everything that you need is already set, so you're not thinking about those when you get here. So this is actually what they call a HUD labeled home. It's built to a superseding standard, a superseding permit. That means that this federal permit that they're built under cannot be challenged by the state or the county or the city because it's a higher order of the permit. It's a superseding federal permit actually made to HUD standards.
And so that brings me to my next question. This is different than your traditional build because all the inspections, the framing, the drywall, the electrical, the plumbing, it's not done here, is it, Mark?
It's all done.
It's not done here.
No, it's not done on site,
Okay.
except for the marriage of the two parts. And sometimes even on a larger installation, you might have 3 parts that get married. So there is what they call the mating wall where the units come together. Many applications might be smaller studio apartments that are only a single anyway, so we don't even have that issue. But here, no, all the inspections are already done, the product is ready to go, it's all plumbed. I call it plug and play, kind of like something new that you buy for your computer. You plug in the electric, you plug in the water, you plug in the sewer, someone moves in. Just that easy.
You know, the benefits of having an ADU is that you can move in a family member, an in-law, or you can even rent out the space. A lot of our clients are thinking, hey, it's time to retire. They could use some additional income. And this is a great option because it is faster. It appears to be more affordable. Will the market give you the same rental amount?
I don't really think that there's a difference at all. A 1-bedroom house is a 1-bedroom house. A 2-bedroom house is a 2-bedroom house. Does a 2-bedroom have 1 bath or 2 baths? And there's your difference in your price because someone's moving in and they're expecting shelter. In most ADU applications, you have to go find an older house that has a very large backyard, and then you put in your ADU. So whether the ADU is factory built or stick built, it's a brand new home versus the one that's in front of it, the original house, which might be 50, in this instance, almost 70 years old. So although it's been completely rehabbed and it's a dollhouse to move into, it's a 70-year-old house versus the one right behind us, which is just several weeks old.
Now let's talk about cost. Okay, so we love the fact that it's faster. All right, if it's faster, it's going to be less of a headache.
Yes.
What's it cost to do one of these?
Realistically, it's just shy of $100 a foot. If you're looking at a 600 square foot home, think about $60,000. But remember, that's only half your cost, because whether you go stick built, whether you put a tent in the backyard, whatever you do, you have school bond fees, library bond fees, fire department fees, you have all kinds of extra fees that have to be paid per each dwelling unit. When a condo developer puts up 6 units, he pays 6 times those fees. Well, the fees are already paid or existing or waived on the existing property because it's 50 years, 70 years old. However, you're adding a new house, which what they call adding by doors. They count by doors at the county and the city. And so you have to pay all of those fees. So you have those fees, you have to do the electrical hookup, you have to do the plumbing hookups. So realistically, you're sitting at about $150,000 for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, and maybe $175,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
You're an appraiser and
Yes.
MAI?
Yes.
Okay, you've been an appraiser for over 35 years.
Yes.
Maybe even longer. I add one of these to my house. What will it do to the value of my property?
Okay.
And that's where the great debate is going on. Some appraisers who aren't that well versed might say, oh, this is an addition similar to a cabana or a swimming pool. Now, a lot of us know that you can put in a $100,000 swimming pool and it raises the house's value $25,000 or $30,000. Right. So that's not necessarily a money-making thing. However, having a pool in your backyard is enjoyable and it's good for the family, which is beyond financial questions. I look at the project in a different way. As an appraiser, as a commercial appraiser for decades, I will tell you that somebody will give you money based on how much money they're going to get. It's called the present value of a future income stream. So the multiplier. The property sells for a certain dollar volume, something that's already sold last month or last year. More recent is better. Figure out what the income is. You can figure that out by saying it's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. We know what they rent for in this neighborhood. And if you take the annual income and you divide it into the sales price, you will figure out how many times the annual income somebody else just paid for that property. And that will give you your gross rental multiplier.
Perfect. So now we know the timing, what it takes to pull the permits and actually pull one of these off. And then we also know the potential of adding value to your property, not just the utility of what you're going to use it for or the amount of income that you could produce, but also the value that it's going to add to your property. So we're certainly pleased with the law. We know it's necessary. At the end of the day, we took this single family home. Now we could support 2 families on one lot. And so in terms of creating housing and kind of helping the housing crisis that we have.
It is.
This is a nice way to do it and has tremendous benefits, not only for the family that's going to be renting here, but even for the for the owners of the property. Also joining us today is Luis Parada. He's a local contractor specializing in site-built ADUs, and he's going to talk about the 2 different options when it comes to site-built, either garage conversions or your traditional ADU dwelling. Luis, so the first question, talk to us about the process of building an ADU. If I'm someone who wants to build one in my backyard, I'm here in Long Beach, what do I do?
So the first thing to do is you call maybe someone like us or a company like us or architect and get information on what you could build on your lot. There's a lot of different requirements. Now with the ADU laws, there's a lot of things that have changed. So just getting to the right consultant that could help you see what you could build on your property.
So reach out to a professional. Hopefully it's you.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the permitting process. How long does it take for an architect to get you plans? Start to finish, when can you start building?
So an architect right now is probably going to take about a month or 2 to get plans submitted to the city. With the conversion or with the new build, you would have to get architectural, structural, and Title 24. From start to finish on the architectural, it'll take about 3 months, and then we're able to come in and start doing construction.
You're out there pulling the permits. Is the city actively trying to give you permits? Are they making it easy, or is it a little bit of a hurdle to get an ADU?
So now with the new state laws, the state laws right now supersede city laws. So it's pushing the cities to allow us to do the permitting much faster. So the city is also encouraging it as well.
So with the ADUs, how long is it going to take you to build one, start to finish?
Yeah. So a 500 square foot ADU, which is our typical size, we're taking about 3 to 4 months to build.
Okay.
And there's garage conversions we're doing as well, where the structure stays, and that's taking about 2 to 3 months.
Okay, so let's talk about the garage conversion. So everyone's talking about the ADUs, but the new laws, they keep changing. And so now we are allowed on some properties to actually take the garage with permits, turn it into a dwelling. Tell us about the 2 differences. Like if I'm a homeowner and I have a garage, like do I convert that? Is that easier?
Yeah, so a garage conversion is probably the easiest thing you want to do. And a lot of people have the garage, they don't use it at all. So it's just space that's just there wasted. And so you're able now to convert your garage with the same setbacks without taking any room from your yard and build a unit that's rentable, and you could actually provide a rental unit.
And the city's okay with us eliminating a garage? Is that okay?
Yeah, so with the city, and it depends, there's a lot of new laws coming out and things are changing, but if you're a half mile from the bus or major transit, you don't need any parking spaces. Okay. So you could take the garage, convert it without adding any parking spaces to your property.
So if it's taken me 3 months to get the plans from an architect for an ADU, is it the same amount to get one for a garage conversion?
The garage conversion is probably much faster because the structure's in place. It could be from either a month to 2 months, and it's cutting back a little bit of that.
In terms of timing, converting a garage, it's going to probably become a studio with a bathroom and a kitchenette. How long does that take to build?
So just the garage conversion, we're going to be doing one down the street, and that's going to take us about 2 months. It's a 367 square foot garage conversion. It's a studio with a kitchenette.
Which are you get called on most? Would it be a garage conversion or the ADUs? Which one is most popular right now?
So I think both. I'm doing one right now that's going to be a conversion, and I have a 2-story one that I'm going to be building up in West LA as well.
Louis, you mentioned that your typical ADU is about 500 square feet. More or less, what's the cost for a homeowner should they hire a licensed contractor?
So on new construction, it's probably about out the door with permits, plans, and everything, about $250 a square foot.
Okay.
On a conversion, it could be a little bit less, maybe $200 a square foot. It just depends. Depends on the finishes. You could, do laminate floors, vinyl floors. Depends what kind of kitchen you want in there. Your furnaces, if you want just a wall heater, if you want a air condition and heater.
So that's going to change. And so if we're looking at a new ADU built on site, we're about $250 a square foot. And if you're going to convert your garage, should the city allow it, you're about $200 a square foot, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so there you have it. I hope you found this informative, where we've covered the key topics and what you need to know about ADUs. Should you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, Mark Malan, or Louis Parada. Their information's down below. Until next time. Sitting behind me is the first manufactured ADU in Long Beach. Click the link below and we're going to give you a private tour.